Ou besoin d'un professionnel réel dans les affaires d'assurance parce que les affaires d'assurance pas gain avance, libre en chance. Nous recommandons un seul là, Jean-Claude Jonassin, maître question dans le domaine d'assurance. Quelle que soit l'assurance familiale, assurance machine, commerciale, vie, compétitif, là, dans First Class Insurance and Financial Services, professionnel courtois, compétent et conséquent cap là, Jean-Claude Jonassin, First Class Insurance, 6003 Cox Street, Southeast Palm Bay, Florida. One photo, 321 727 81 42, First Class Insurance. Ou besoin d'un professionnel réel dans les affaires d'assurance parce que dans les affaires d'assurance pas gain avance, libre en chance. Nous recommandons seul là, Jean-Claude Jonassin, maître question dans le domaine d'assurance. Quelle que soit l'assurance familiale, assurance machine, cas commerciale, vie, santé, matériel, prix compétitif, là. First Class Insurance and Financial Services, un professionnel courtois, compétent et conséquent capteur là. Jean-Claude Jonassin, First Class Insurance, 6003 Babcock Street, Southeast Palm Bay, Florida, 321-727-81 40. Stay tuned. Restez à l'écoute. Restez branchés. 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 Stay tuned. Restez à l'écoute. Restez branchés.
Okay, everybody, how you doing? Thanks a lot for those of you that hung in with us as we experienced some thing together. And I was just on the verge of giving up, but decided to go ahead and continue through, give it one more shot, and this is where we are. So, and as you can see, we're still going through some things. You can see in my background here doing some strange stuff here. So we're kind of getting this together as well. But I'm gonna first let me tell you all, thanks a lot for hanging in there with us. Second of all, we are going to be running this topic back because I don't want to cut it short. I don't want to sell you all short on getting this topic out and get it done. But we're going to talk on it a little bit now, and we're going to talk about self-care. We're going to talk about self-care. We're also going to talk about feeding the soul, as in what are you feeding yourself? We feed our body with the right foods, the right vegetables, make sure we drink enough water, and make sure we do a little bit of exercise so that we can work on the outward appearance. We can work on our physique, the physical. But what do we do for our inner soul? How do we feed our spirit? Feeding your soul, that can't be accomplished through food and through drink. It can't be purchased. No one can give it to you. This is a journey that you have to go on for yourself. Feeding your soul is very, very personal. That incorporates the necessities of self-awareness, your intention, your dedication to yourself, setting your goals, finding activities that bring you joy, bring you peace, bring you happiness, things that give you a sense of purpose. How you feed your soul is entirely up to you. But your soul is a reflection of just what you feed it. It's about spending time with your loved one. It's about spending time and connecting with nature, with your environment, connecting with all these other external forces. Could be reading a book, could be listening to music. It could be simply taking a walk on the beach, out in the park, through your neighborhood. It could be something as simple as meditation, personal meditation. It's when you feel, what do you do when, in order for you to feel totally alive, for you to feel totally present, for you to feel totally connected to yourself and to the world around you. That's part of your self-care. And as we get so caught up in everything that's going around, in the world, we neglect to feed our soul. We spend our time, yes, we do pour into others. We give of ourselves to others. We pour from our cup into other people's cups. But most of the time we do that and we fail to recognize or acknowledge the most important person in our lives, and that's us. What are you feeding your soul? What are you feeding? It's not always easy to feed your soul because we have so many things that are going on. We become hyper connected to the world around us because we get so engulfed in social media, so engulfed in watching television. Then there's reality television, and then we look at the news, both the accurate, the inaccurate information we get. We look at the news, we look at the entertainment news, we look at all the sound bites of celebrities, the things that they have going on. We look at social media, see people's lives. We get caught up in relationship goals. We get caught up in looking at others and thinking that's how life is supposed to be. We believe that, we should live that fairy tale life. But that's not necessarily true. In reality, you have to feed your soul. You have to focus on what matters to you. And that's going to require conscious effort on your part. Put yourself first sometimes. You got to be willing to find out what things are going to bring you joy, what things are going to strengthen you. We go to the gym to lift weights to strengthen our muscles, our physical muscles. But what are we doing to feed our minds? What are we doing to feed our soul that's going to bring us to a higher level, either spirituality, self-awareness, enlightenment? Frame or package that. What do you do that's going to bring you peace? Because there's so many things around us and so many people around us that try to take our peace away from us. So what are the things that you do to bring you peace? The number here, 321-216-6279. So now we have to slow down. That's going to require us tuning out a lot of the distractions that are around us and to self-isolate and focus on the stuff that really matters to us, that give us joy. It is saying no to some things. It's saying no to some people. Because a lot of times we get caught up in accepting or going along with or volunteering ourselves or allowing ourselves to be volunteered for things that we really don't want to be a part of, but yet we're so concerned about the feelings of others that we want to put our own feelings, our own mental awareness, our own mental stability, our own goals and objectives to the side because we don't want to upset other people. But you have to. You have to for your own peace of mind. So what do you? I'm asking you as the listener, the viewer, what are you doing to feed your soul, and what feeds your soul? Because remember, as we often hear, and we've heard hear it several times, you are what you eat. But when they say that, your body, but also you are what you eat as far as what you're feeding your soul too, because that's reflected in our attitudes, that's reflected in how we interact and engage with others. And if we don't have that level of self-awareness, we don't know how to accurately engage, interact with other people, then that shows that we are a deficit. We have a vitamin, a nutritious or nutrient deficiency. So we have to be able to feed our souls the right stuff. And in order for us to feed our souls the right stuff, we have to understand ourselves. That's going to require spending time with ourselves, doing a clear self-analysis. Think back. When are the times, what was going on in your life when you were at your best? And how do you get back to that? What were some of the times when you had some of the best interactions with people, and compare that. What are your interactions with people now? And if the aforementioned was a positive interaction, a positive experience, and now it is not, how do we get back to that? What are some of the things? Because we're the product of our environment, we're a product of our experiences, but we're also the product of how much of our environment, how much of our experience we let nourish our spirits. Because there are some people that have very experiences, very, very bad environments, and yet don't allow that to feed their souls, to feed their spirits, and they don't reflect or emulate that. So you are a reflection of what you eat and what you allow to nourish you. So what are some of the things that you seek out nourishment in? What are you feeding your soul? What are you drinking into your soul? And that's going to require also stepping outside of your comfort zone. You're going to have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And being uncomfortable means you may have to face some very uncomfortable truths. You may have to visit some places that you have been trying to block out, but just acknowledge these things and then push them to the side. You don't have to let those things feed you. Those things don't have to eat at you. But if we do a strong self-analysis, we may realize, I'm acting like this because of this. I'm acting like that because of that. We've allowed these things to feed us, and you may find that you've been feeding your soul with stuff that's 10, 15 or more years still feeding yourself these things. So we have to look at that. Now, what's that going to do? That's also going to require a check-in with yourself. Where am I right now? Maybe do a reflection at the end of the day. How did things go today? What situations happened today? Did I go off on someone? Did I really get upset when someone cut me off in traffic? Did I yell at my children? Did I yell at my significant other? Did I yell at a coworker? And was that warranted? Could I have handled that a better way? Did you yell at the person because of that, or did you yell at something they did, or did you yell at that person or have that type of behavior in response to something else that was going on with you internally, and this person was just happened to be the one that got the backlash from that? So let's address that. Let's talk about feeding your soul food. Soul food. What are you feeding your soul? When we talk about soul food, we talk about the food that gets down in your spirit, that feels so good when you eat it, and it tastes good. It makes you just want to jump for joy down the inside, get your taste buds jumping around. But what food are you feeding your soul? What fulfills your soul? What gives you fulfillment? Some people, it could be worship. It could be again, just spending time with yourself. One of the most rewarding things you can do for yourself is to feed your soul. That's the most rewarding thing you can do for yourself. Like how I know when many people I know, when they're growing up, one way in the family, but the elders know that they love you, like the aunts or the grandmoms, the mothers. The one way they showed their love was through cooking and through feeding you. And sometimes, we've all probably had those relatives. We go to their house, and they're like, did you eat today? You look kind of skinny. You got to go eat something. That's because they're looking at the outside. Now ask yourself, if you were to actually turn that vision around and you do an internal look in yourself, how do you look? Do you look like you need to feed your soul? Is your soul hungry? Is your soul thirsty? Do you need to nourish your soul? The chances are, yes, we're all deficient somewhere, and we have to all do a check-in at some point or another just to see where we are. Gauge our feelings. Acknowledge our feelings. Find out how to harness our feelings. In development of your inner peace, when you do that, you're going to also develop a level of resilience. It's going to allow you to navigate through some of life's challenges that are going on out there. And it's going to allow you to do so with a greater degree of ease. It's not easy. Nothing that is worth doing comes without struggle. So yes, it may not be easy, but it is well worth it. You know, so now when you feed your soul, again, as I said, that's a personal journey. It's a journey of self-awareness. It's intentionality. It's dedication. It's deciding, I need this. This is for me. I'm going to say no when I need to say I'm not going to accept other things being put onto my plate. They're going to disturb my peace. I'm not going to involve or invite other people into my space that are going to, damage my peace. They're going to put my peace in jeopardy. We have to, nourish our soul. Now, once you nourish your soul, things you'll notice. You're going to notice your life is going to get a little bit better. It's going to flourish in ways you probably haven't imagined. One of the most rewarding things you can do for yourself, again, listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. Listen to your body. You've probably heard this before. Your body is your first doctor. Listen to it. When your body tells you, as we all have that intuition, when something doesn't feel right, we kind of get that little thing in our spirit kind of gives us that little unease saying this doesn't seem right, something's wrong here. Well, the same thing. Your body can tell you, your spirit, your inner spirit will tell you when something's not right and not going on with your body. And when something's going on with your body that feels funny, on the physical sense, we go to the doctor. We go to the doctor, we get looked at, we get tests run, all of those things. Well, it's because your body spoke to you, you acknowledged that there was something that needed to be done, and so you went to go get it looked at and get it taken care of. And so if there are any deficiencies, you get prescribed the medication to take care of those things. Well, the same thing. When you know that something's not good with your spirit, and for some of you, it may be counseling. But even counseling, I will tell you, counseling is not enough. You're going to have to, counselors will tell you, they're there to talk to you, they're there to help you navigate, they're there to help you in all these different ways, but you have to be willing to put in the work, and putting in the work means having to face perhaps some hard truths. You're going to have to feed your soul. If you're feeding your soul by being in the presence of toxic people, you're feeding your soul by having toxic habits, you're feeding your soul by putting yourself in toxic environments, toxic situations, then what do you think you are? You're a reflection of what you're feeding your body, which means you in turn may very well be toxic as well if you're allowing yourself to be nourished by this. So be careful what you nourish your soul with, what you allow to feed, what you allow to feed you. Be very careful of that. Be very wary of that, what you allow to feed you. So, when you nourish your soul, again, you're going to see it when you start to say no to things, you start to put yourself first, you're going to start to see things start to change. Is it going to be easy at first? It's not going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it. You're going to have to know to tell people no. And does that mean sometimes you're not going to be the nice person? You can tell a person no. Still be respectful. You don't have to be mean. Don't have to be obnoxious about it. You can tell the person no. You don't have time to do that, or you can't do that. Something along those lines, and that's fine. Now, if this person is upset with you, this person calls out of your name, this person does all these other adverse things, the problem doesn't lie with you. The problem lies with the person, and they need to go embark on their own journey of self-awareness to find their own peace. But you're responsible for your peace and the management of your peace and what feeds your soul. You're responsible for that. And we all want to have healthy souls. We all want to have healthy spirits. We all want to have healthy minds and bodies. And all of those things, when we talk about a healthy body, what's the first thing we start thinking about? The diet. They ask you, what are you putting in? What are you eating? And that's going to help you to determine what are some of the things you might need to cut back on if you want to achieve these goals. Well, the things you're going to need to cut back on if you want to achieve the goal of having a healthy spirit. Peace. How important is your peace to you? That's my question for you that's out there listening. You can call in 321-216-6279. But the question is, your peace. How important is your peace to you? What are you willing to do to maintain your peace? And sometimes you've got to tell people no. And if you don't tell people no, you can't be mad at them because it's your responsibility. Because people are only going to disturb your peace as much as you allow them to do so. So just be very aware of that. It's your peace, and that's your responsibility. Be very aware of that. So now let's roll on over into the self-care, because that sounds like a good segue over into that. You know, we hear self-care all the time. You've heard me say it in several different shows, and right now we hear that as if it's some kind of buzzword. We hear it, we talk about self-care, but ask yourself, do you actually practice self-care? Do you actually do it? When's the last time you actually spent some time by yourself? Quiet time by yourself, doing a check-in with yourself. How am I feeling today? Am I in a good mood this morning? Am I in a bad mood? Why? Is my attitude this morning the reflection of perhaps a dream I might have had that, and something that was going on in my mind? Do I feel anxiety about something? What's going on with me? You have to do that check-in. I personally, on my own personal journey, I did struggle with self-care. I can tell you that as we talk about nourishing your spirit, nourishing your soul for soul food, yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But I realize that the self-care, that's something that we have to do. It's something we must do. It's something that we cannot, avoid doing self-care. We can't run away from it. You can't try to run away from yourself. You'll never outrun yourself. You're always there. You live in there. So check on yourself. Check on yourself. You got to check up. You got to check with yourself. Self-care means taking the time to identify what do I need right now. Not what you need from someone else, but what do you need to give you that's going to help you. I take what's called, or I used to, haven't done so now, but I used to take what I call serenity breaks. And what that is just, I have my own piece of the world. It could be a park. It could be just some place where it's just my own piece of the world, quiet. No one else really knows that I'm there. And I use that space to gather my thoughts, to check in, evaluate how I'm feeling, and maybe plan the course of action towards my next move. It gives me a sense of clarity, gives me a sense of awareness, and spending time alone, you'd be surprised just how much stuff you find out about yourself. We have to slow down. In a fast-paced world, we see it all the time, but we got to slow down. We got to slow down, and we have to enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process as we move forward and we move along. It's like for me, self-care is taking the time to check in. It's taking the time to identify what it is that I need, what it is that I want, what are my goals. How far am I going to stress out because I'm not there yet, or am I just going to understand, okay, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Things don't happen like this, but you have to be willing to go on the journey, enjoy the ride, and that's how you get the story to tell. It's about acknowledging what are my emotions, and you don't hear very many people talk about that. Definitely don't hear many men talk about that, You definitely don't hear too many men that look like me talk about checking in with my emotions. Am I emotionally stable? Did I overreact? How could I have handled that better? And, what is it that I need? What caused me to act that way? To behave that way? Am I proud of the way that I handled that situation? So I have to do an emotional check. And we all have to do that. It's a necessity if we want to do better. And then when we acknowledge our emotions, we got to address them. How can I change this for the next time so that this doesn't happen again? I really wasn't at my best. That wasn't my best moment. I need to get myself together and I need to do better. I need to do better. Now, despite what some people may think, as we get into feeding our soul, and we talk about self-care, don't get confused with thinking that self-care and taking care of yourself is being selfish, because it's not. Taking care of yourself, feeding your spirit, that's not being selfish. That's just putting you first. You're not saying I'm here and everyone else is down here. It's saying that I value myself just as much as everyone else values themselves. I'm worth it. I'm worthy. I will put myself first, find out what it is that I need before I can fully and actively pour into someone else's cup. I've got to make sure that my cup is full. Now, what do I need to fill my cup? Because if I pour into all these different cups, I'm going to be left empty. And who's going to pour into my cup? Because a lot of people, and we all know people that are like that, they're going to let you pour into their cups. And you'll pour into those cups until you are empty. And none of those people are willing to pour back. So you got to make sure that you pour into your cup. You make sure that you have a full cup. When you start to feel your cup start to get kind of low, what do I need to do to help me to grow, to help fill? What do I need to fill my cup? What is my self-care? What do I need? It may be something, going to the gym, working out, which gives you that sense of clarity about things, where you're strengthening both your mind, your body, and your soul. It's not about prioritizing yourself at the expense of other people. It's about realizing that you cannot take care of others until you take care of yourself. You are number one. If no one's told you this, today, this week, this month, this year, this decade, in your life, I'm telling you right now, you are worth it. You're worth it. You are worthy of putting yourself first. Now you just have to believe it. You have to walk in it. You have to put in the work, put yourself first, and take care of yourself. Now self-care, it can take many forms, a lot of different forms. And it's critical to figure out what works best for you. It's not a cookie cutter thing. What works for one person is not going to work for everybody else. Yes, it may be a little piece from that person, but ultimately, what works for you? Think back to the time, what gave you the greatest joy?